Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Casey Crawls. Hey, on this episode, what we're going to do is follow up with more mods for old Sarge. So what I got here is LOD's Shorty Signature Bumper with the bull bar. So stick around, we're going to get this installed, even going to put a Warren winch in here and hopefully get some lights going, and who knows where else we'll go with this thing. So stick around, hope you like it. Subscribe. Now let's get to work. Thanks. Alright guys, first things first. We got to get this bumper off of here. Well, here we got these two pop clips that face up on this trim piece. And then there's going to be 8 more that I'll get out here shortly. But you got to get these out and get that trim piece out to get this front bumper off. Well, here are more clips. You got to get all these things out. All right. And I'm going to have to apologize for the wind noise. It's hot. I got the fans on. Look, I already got a scuff mark on this thing. Alright, there's one. Alright, here is 2. And now we should have 8 of these little clips that you have to pop loose. There we go. So we got the skid plate out. Okay, next order of business is to remove this, they call it a crash bar. So there are these 2 bolts, and they are, I think, 16 millimeter. Let's see, yep, 16 millimeter. One, 2. Okay, you notice it didn't come out because there are these tabs, so you have to shift it up before it'll come out. And there we go. Crash bar removed. Okay, next thing we have to do is remove the wiring harness for the fog lights. It's got a clip into the frame. It may be easier, you can kind of if you want to pull it out, let's see if we can do it without pulling it out. What you're going to do is push down here and that slides out, so you may have to work at it a little bit. It's kind of tight. Next thing we're going to do, there are 4 18 millimeter bolts down here. We're going to undo those 4 bolts, and this bumper should come off. Okay, I said there were 4 18 millimeter, I think, yeah, 18 millimeter bolts. There are 4 on either side, so there's a total of 8. So I tried to get it off after doing the first 4, and it wasn't moving. We got to get these others off. So there's 2 on either side of the frame rail. Makes sense. All right, second shot at this. Got the nuts undone. I'm going to slide the bumper off. Made it. There we go. Alright guys, we got the bumper on the workbench, and we need to get the cover off of the area where the fog lights are located. So again, we'll break out our little I don't know what these little pop bracket things are called. I guess they're called pop clips. Okay, remember when I said I wasn't sure if this would be right? T20 Torx head? Well, I was right. That's not correct. It's actually a 7mm that holds the incandescent. I've got the incandescent floodlights. You pull the light out, you just squeeze the tabs, the bulb comes right out. I'm going to stuff it right down in there. And then it looks like there are 4 7mm screws. Alright guys, I got both the fog lights out. Now what I got to do is take apart the bumper. I got to separate the metal part from the plastic, and we'll get that wiring harness out of there so we can put this thing in the LOD Signature Shorty bumper. So let's get to it. Okay, next thing we got to do is separate the plastic part, the interior plastic part, from the outside or the exterior plastic part of the bumper. And there's about 5,000 7mm screws to do this. So here we go. We just gotta feed our wiring harness or our bulb through this little opening. And voila, got our wiring harness done. Finally, we got the wiring harness out. So next step, I would imagine, to try and figure out how in the world to get these fog lights into the LOD bumper. So here we go. Okay, you take your fog lamp and make sure the writing, my bumper's upside down, the writing faces the top, and there are some small, let me show you the small holes. These small holes, the tiny ones, they line up with some smaller holes in the bumper, and you use these self-tapping screws, and they are 1/4 inch. So let me see if I can get one of these jokers in. Alright, I'm going to leave it loose so we can move it around and maneuver it. Alright, there's 2. Now I'm going to get these other 2 in and do the same thing on the other side, and we should be good to go. Alright guys, the next thing I got to do is put the winch mount on. So to do that, there are these little brackets against the frame. Maybe you can see this one. I've loosened it a little bit. Oh, there you go. You got to take these off. So I think serious trial and error. Oh, and this is a 16, I think. Yeah, this is a 16mm. Alright guys, we're going to put this winch plate on, and so you've got these little spacers and these bolts, and we're going to I'll show you in a second. But these things are going to be inserted loosely to hold this thing up there while we get the rest of the bumper installed. Slide it in from the underside. We'll do this side first. Oh, by the way, you'll need a 3/4 inch socket. Alright, let's get this other side in. Alright, they give you these long bolts. Let me show you these long bolts and these little spacers. It looks like about 3/8 inch. You've got 8 of those to put in. I already got the bumper on. How about that? Got the winch installed. I got the fog lights installed. Fairlead is good to go. Now, under here, we've got a little, it's a little exposed. I did buy the skid plate, so let's get to working on the skid plate. That installed, and I think we'll be done for the evening. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do first. To get the skid plate on, you got to get this. They call it a crash bar, I believe. You use the stock, the factory bolts, and it bolts across like a cross member, and believe the skid plate bolts up underneath it. So that's what we're going to do now, so stick around, let's get to work. We're going to use the factory 16mm Alright guys, here we go. I got the skid plate. So the way this thing's going to be mounted, if I could show you here. We've got 4 bolts on top and 2 at the bottom. You just saw how I installed that crash bar. Have 2 bolts coming up through that crash bar, and then the 4 that connect to the bumper. And that should protect all the electronic disconnect, sway bar stuff. There is a bunch of stuff up under there that probably needs to be protected. So here we go. Let's get this thing installed. Well, I lost the video that I had of me installing the skid plate. It really is pretty simple. You had the 2 bolts connecting to the crash bar and the 4 bolts connecting to the bumper, and everything is protected. It's a pretty beefy skid plate. I was really impressed. I really like this bumper, and I think this is going to do a lot for this little Jeep. I hope you enjoyed it. Well guys, that's it for the bumper install. I hope you enjoyed it. I got tools everywhere in this shop, but I think this thing's going to turn out really well, and we'll just see where it goes from there. And by the way, I've got a couple of old stock bumpers for sale. If you're interested, hit me up. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. Hope you liked it, and I will see you on the trail. Thank you.